have all these vintage planes, and then they have old jets and everything. So it's really an experience to shoot at the graveyard in Arizona. Amazing.
Yeah, I've been there before. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So then we all circle back to Texas. We shot in Virginia and we shot in New Mexico, and we all end up in Texas. I try to shoot everything I can in Texas just because it's where I'm from, and we have some of the best crew. We have great crew here who make a living at it. They don't do it on the side or,
Right.
they not, volunteer.
Part-time crew?
they're the real deal. They, I've got a great sound mixer, my buddy Teddy, and a good DP who is a really terrific crew, So I get my trucks, trailers, equipment, camera packages, lighting packages, grip trucks, all out of Texas. And I'd rather work with these guys than I've known them for 25 years, but I'd just rather work with them than anybody.
Well, I love that you bring things home and you come back to your state. Still, I feel bad that we're ignoring Janice over here. We have this whole section to talk to her, but she's very much about hometown and bringing things home and doing stuff. And I love that you have that.
Well, so I mean, 'cause film brings so much revenue to a small town. To Seabrook, to Lamarck or Galveston. We shot in Galveston. My last two films, we had a couple of days each in Galveston. Yeah.
So the film that's just coming out soon is called The Bay House. Now, one thing that I like to say, both of these films have one actor that is one of my favorites. So tell me a little bit about how you got him.
Oh, Barry Corbin.
Yeah. So do y'all remember Barry Corbin? My favorite was he used to be in Northern Exposure, right? He was the astronaut that he's been in a million things, but that's who I identify him with.
Well, it's funny because originally when I wrote the Last Man Club, Charlton Heston was starring in it, and we even had a dinner for him in 2000, and I met him at oddly enough, I'll back up. I met Chuck Heston at the Gettysburg premiere in 1993. And I told him, I said, I'm writing a script with you in mind. And he said, really? And I pitched him The Last Man Club, just standing there in the lobby at the Directors Guild. And he's like, well, son, when you finish it, just contact me, And I knew where he lived, And so when I finished the script, I drove over there and knocked on his door. And he answered.
You're like,
I gave him the script, and he called me the next day. And, I went over for coffee to talk about the script. And we became very dear friends. I learned a lot from him. He was such a great man and such a gentleman. And as a matter of fact, he used to babysit for me. When I'd have auditions and stuff, I was a single dad at the time, and I would drop Dakota off, and he would watch him because he and his wife, Lydia, they had a grandson the same age. So that was fun. But anyway.
A lot of people say that, Charlton Heston babysat my kids. Yeah.
That was kind of cool. Yeah, Moses babysat my kids.
Right. Did he put him in a wicker basket?
Yes, he did. Yeah, floated him down the L.A. River.
You'd go out. You'd go over there and pick him up out of the wicker basket.
Yeah. But so, unfortunately, we developed the script over the couple of years, and then I moved to Houston because I really didn't want to raise my son in L.A. I just didn't want to do it, and my mother was here to help me with him, so. I bought a house in Timber Cove, and and right there on Taylor Lake, and I wanted him skiing in the lake like I grew up skiing in the lake. So anyway, 2000, we were doing some fundraising for the film, and the mayor and some Astros came. We had this dinner in Memorial, and Chuck came out for it, and it was on the way to the dinner that he said, I don't think I can do the movie because I have Alzheimer's. And he said it's really aggressive. And, we ended up having a great time. And he actually did like a 20-minute monologue from the Bible
Wow.
that was astounding. The woman there in the house and memorial said, "I don't think I'll ever paint these walls again because Charlton Heston did a 20-minute monologue in this room." It was amazing.
The walls have heard it. It's hard to see our heroes go downhill.
Oh man,
And
especially for him. Yeah, it was a great loss.
why didn't Moses just ask God? No, that was bad. So bad. But no, I think that so you didn't get to use him. So you had
No.
Barry Corbin.
So no, I didn't get to use him. Barry Corbin was always, Wilford Brimley. I was also going to do it, and Wilford Brimley, and
He's
also
gruff.
yeah, well, yeah, and he was the guy I had in mind for Barry Corbin's role, and then the other person that we had was Richard Farnsworth, who was going to co-star with Chuck, and they were going to do it, and then we get a message from the first. I mean, it was crazy how it all fell apart because Richard Farnsworth, we get a message from him, and he said, "Can I do it in a wheelchair?" He loved it. He said, "I want this movie to be my swan song," and he said, "Can I do it in a wheelchair?" And we said, "You can do it any way you want." And then, it just he died. So we were never. So he died. Chuck got Alzheimer's and had to pull out. And then Wilford Brimley was just too old to do it. And that was the problem with this film, was casting actors that were old enough for the role, but they're too old to work. It was very frustrating. So we decided in 2014 that if we didn't do it now, we'd never be able to do it. And we even had to cast younger actors that were maybe kids during World War II rather than in World War II. Like, Charlton Heston flew in a not a B-17, but a B-24. He flew in combat, as did, Richard Farnsworth and I think Wilford too. But
Wow.
anyway, yeah,
They really were heroes.
they really were. Yeah.
Hold on one second, just to make sure that we remind everybody this is KHEA Radio 99.5. It's 322. And we're sitting here talking to Bo Brinkman. That's a filmmaker. We're talking about his film, The Bay House, which is getting ready to come out in November. And we're talking about some of the actors and how he got it to come about. So
Yes.
let's go back.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll back up one more time because we're still talking about Last Man Club. Sorry. Charles Durning, also, we tried to get it off the ground a couple years later, before 2014. Charles Durning starring in it. But we're right in the middle between the change from film to HD. 35. So we shot in 35. We some investors did not come in like we thought. We had to shut down. And then by the time we got it back again, Charles Durning died.
Oh, my
so,
goodness.
So we said, okay, look, we're going to do it or not. And I had met Barry casually just a few years before, and he said to me, he goes, "What are you doing with that Last Man Club movie?" And I'm like, "Wow,
What?
Like what?" And he goes, "Well," and I said, "We're going to get it off the ground again, in the next couple of years." He says, "Well, call me when you do. I like that script." I didn't even know we read it. I don't know how he got a hold of it, but so I just love his work, and I was so happy to have him on board. I called him in 2014 and called his agent, and we had made a deal, and he came out and did it, and we had a great time. He's just wonderful. And so while we were shooting Last Man Club, I told him, I said, I think you're perfect for this movie that I'm writing. I said, it's based on a play that I wrote 20 years ago, and it's called The Bay House, and I want you to do the lead. It's kind of a big daddy lead. I hate to compare, but it's been compared. At least the play was compared to Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and So I said, it's kind of a big daddy role, a matriarch, a patriarch. And he says, oh, well, let me read it, and I gave it to him. And the next morning he goes, I like that movie. Let's make that beach house. I said, Bay House. He goes, yeah, what you said, So then I called him, a couple of years later and said, let's make this movie. He's like, all right, let's do it.
So he's kind of a politician in this movie. Is he a
failed politician? Well,
no, he'd had a career.
He'd had a career, but he loses his last election in the face of scandal, and created by his ex-wife. So it's really not about that. It's really about the family and how he has created such wreckage in his family. He had left his wife, who was going crazy, for his wife's little sister, marries her.
Okay, that's scandalous. That's horrible, and that came out of your brain because you wrote it.
So, and you think that the aunt is, a terrible person, but she's not. She's, she was taking care of the kids, but the kids don't know that. They're grown men now. So, anyway, I'm digressing. What ends up, it's a family drama, and so when everybody, it's right after he loses the election, and everybody goes there for different reasons, to the Bay House, and the father, they're supposed to have this talk, and nobody, and he doesn't realize what the talk is going to be about. So the oldest son is a lawyer who has just lost his son in a car accident, and has uncovered some terrible things that his father has done while he was in office, corrupt things. And then the youngest son, played by Sean Ferris, who's a wonderful actor. Sean, he comes back. He's a 36-year-old college kid, and he's literally grown up in school. They sent him off to boarding school when he was just a little kid, and he barely spent Christmases with them, and he's this wounded child still, except that he's 36 years old. He still hasn't grown up, and he's still in college, living off of his dad. So he goes there for another reason. And then they have this daughter who's kind of the catalyst for everything. She's the little drama queen. She's terrific. Tia McKay plays, and she's wonderful.
So who are the?
And
so
she's the daughter of the
stepmother.
The stepmother, yeah, the aunt, and
the
and the
aunt,
dad.
the stepmother. I'm so confused.
I'm getting it confused, but the Cowden is his name. Cowden. I named the character after one of the producers who was a dear friend of mine who was killed in a plane crash November 17th.
Yeah, that was devastating, and a lot of people knew him because he did the flying.
Yeah. Everything. I mean, all the shows. He had a P-51 Mustang. His name was Cowden Ward Jr., and he was one of the producers on Last Man Club. He flew veterans for a lot of them their last rides in his P-51 Mustang, which is World War II fighter, and he had dedicated his life to veterans, and he was 73 when he went down. He was giving a 93-year-old B-17 pilot a ride around the airport, who had lost his arm in his last mission over Germany because flak exploded next to the cockpit and took his arm off. 93 years old. The irony of him going down in a World War II aircraft 70 years after he almost went down in a P-51 is just mind-boggling to me. So
that's devastating.
anyway, Cowden, God bless you. Rest in peace. It was pretty devastating when he went down. He was in Fredericksburg, Texas, flying for the Nimitz Museum, and
Yeah, I know a lot of people that knew him that I guess fly with Southwest, and his work with the veterans was just inspirational.
yeah.
But so the Bay House has.
Thanks for staying on point. That's good. You get right back
right
around
back in
to
there.
the point. Yes.
So we have Leslie Ann Warren.
Yes. Leslie Ann Warren plays the aunt.
The aunt stepmother.
The aunt. Yes. Aunt Joan, the stepmother. Everybody just did such incredible performances. Leslie Ann Warren is just a force to reckon with. She's wonderful. Sean Ferris reminds me of like a Tom Cruise type actor. He's really good looking. He's got a lot of charisma. And then help me out. Let's see.
I don't
Carolyn
know their names.
Boone. Carolyn Boone. I found this actress to play the crazy mother, right? Her name is Carolyn Houston Boone, and she took over Cecil Pickett's job at University of Houston 25 years ago. And she still teaches there. And she's a terrific actress. I mean, oh, my God, she blew us away.
She does crazy well.
She does crazy. You saw, she does crazy very well. We shot the winter scenes in Colorado in February. In Silverton, Colorado, it was like 12 degrees and, 4 feet of snow.
Yeah.
And she cuts a tree down with a chainsaw, in the middle of the night in the snow, barefoot in a bathrobe. So if that's not crazy, it falls into, telephone lines and knocks all the power out in the neighborhood. So I think that's pretty crazy.
So where is the Bay House? It's filmed in
Silverton, Colorado, Galveston, Texas, and Seabrook, Texas.
Seabrook, right here. So
and
that's
Baycliff.
Where the Bay House is.
We shot
Baycliff.
Yes, we shot at Gilhooly's.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right. And it is Gilhooly's, right? It is actually Gilhooly's.
It's actually, I named it in the film, so-and-so wanted to go to Gilhooly's tonight. So we named it in the film, and we show it's
You show the inside?
Gilhooly's. Yeah, man.
You know what
It's
I
fun.
think? I do have to say, I was fascinated. I was there the day that you finished your director's cut. So you were just watching the first.
No, that was the rough cut.
Yeah, the rough cut.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so.
In L.A., you saw it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, I've seen films before, but I'm used to film, right? So this is now all digital. And so in the film, there was one particular scene that I really noticed, and it had been rain, and they have the windshield wipers and going. And then in the next scene, the driveway is dry. And there's just a note that comes across the screen that says, add water to the driveway, And I was thinking, wait, you can do that? Because back in the day, you would have had to film it that way.
Yeah.
And there was one time where you would film there was like a sandbar that was out in the water that was not there the next scene.
Add
and
sandbar.
you're like, add sandbar. And I'm thinking, what, you can do that? That's so cool.
Yeah. Do a lot.
And things like if he wanted a dialogue to be longer, the person might be saying something, and then Bo's voice would come out saying whatever else he wanted to add to it. So
like on the cut. Yeah.
So that was a really neat experience. I appreciate you letting me do that. But so when are people going to be able to see this film?
It opens in Florida at the Villages Theater in Orlando November 10th. It plays in Spokane day after tomorrow at the Regal Theater. It's going to be, we're waiting on our dates to the River Oaks. It's going to open, I think. I'm just waiting to hear if we're going to get in and if we're going to get dates, but hopefully at the River Oaks, probably in mid-November. And then it's going to be, I think, mainly in the West. For some reason, I know we have a couple of dates in Idaho, one in L.A. I think we're going to be in Chicago. We're going to be in New York. But not a lot of theaters. This is a small film. It's not We're not going to get the theaters that we did for Last Man Club. Just as a smaller film, it's it's. I don't want to call it an art film, but it's a smaller film. It's if you liked Osage County, did y'all see?
Yeah, right.
What was it? What's the name of the film?
It is Osage County, isn't it?
It's
where all the
August, Osage County.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. If you like
Did
that
you see
movie, you would probably like this one. And it. Although I think Bay House ends on more of a positive note, because it almost have to, because wow, it's such a gritty drama. It's got so much stuff in it about father and son relationships, father and daughter relationships, marital relationships. There's so much packed into this film. And, I tried to put a little humor, dollops of fresh humor through it, but it's a gritty drama. It truly is. The good thing is, unlike Osage County, we leave on a happier note, because it is about family, and with family, what happens in family? A lot. Tragedy happens, horrible things happen. A lot of drama, a lot. Everybody's got their stories.
Not in my family,
within the family. But what happens in the end? Usually, we all keep going, right? We sometimes work stuff out, and sometimes we don't. But guess what? We still love each other in that family, and we still move forward in life. And that's a big message in the Bay House. It's no matter what happens or who's been hurt. They're still family, and they're still together, and they're still moving forward through life, and that's what we do. Most people, that's what you do in a family. You
just love each other through it.
You love each other through it. Sometimes
it does have a beautiful ending. I love the relationship with the brothers. I love the bratty little sister. And the parents are hysterical. But so we're going to switch over to talking to Janice Halliday. Now, we did some name dropping about that you were married to someone famous at some point. And so, we don't like to name drop over here, but, Janice is married to the mayor of League City.
All right.
That's the only time we're going to mention that, because everything else is just going to be about Miss Janice today.
Yes.
I could name drop. He's got a few more.
Let's hear him.
Well, he's got some famous cousins. Who are they?
You know who they are.
Can't think of his name. My roommate would die. I can't think of his name. Yeah.
Dennis and Randy Quaid.
Yeah, Dennis and Randy Quaid are his cousins.
Sharon and Tate.
Baby, I grew up with them.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I have pictures of Randy doing cartwheels in my mother's front yard.
Oh, in Bel Air?
Yeah.
I'll be darned. Yeah.
In fact, we're all hoping that he'll appear out of nowhere for the 50th reunion in October. But
did you go to Bel Air High School?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
With Randy, we went to junior high and high school together.
I'll be darned.
So
you are related to them?
Yes,
first cousins.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So do you know how to reach Randy?
See if he's coming to the reunion.
I know how to reach Dennis, but Randy has kind of dropped out of sight.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's so talented.
I know.
He was so talented in
It's the
high
wife.
school, and then when he made the Last Picture Show, and when he had his dream come true, when he got to play LBJ.
Yes.
He was fabulous, and he was great in everything.
He's good in everything he does.
He's just never going to understand how great he was. He didn't think he was.
No. No, we never did. You're right.
And then Dennis, got out there with him and flourished and did wonderful as a leading man. And
I think, Randy,
I put this on?
I think Randy always wanted to be a leading man, and he wasn't. He was a character actor, and he was a brilliant comedian, but he never wanted to be a comedian. He wanted to be a serious actor. He didn't want to be a comedian. And
but he was a natural.
He was a natural. Oh my God.
He was hilarious.
He's just so talented. I don't know. Of course, the family blames it on the woman. So, with all the crazy stuff going on with Randy.
We had a crazy girlfriend in high school, and she was very talented and very funny. Roxy.
Oh.
So speaking of crazy women,
are you going to call me crazy now?
no.
I
Not
am.
you.
I am.
Not you. Somebody else, maybe. No.
That's right.
So, Janice Halsey is a force to be reckoned with, though, in League City. I do have to say, I always say that Janice and Pat are a walking history book of League City and the people that live there or have lived there. So we're going to talk about League City Proud and Holiday in the Park. But what is your favorite historical story about the trees, about whatever, something history or a person in League City?
One of my favorite stories is, I'm always so surprised that people don't realize League City was named after someone.
Right.
So his name was J.C. League, and he never lived in League City, but he was good friends with John Seeley.
Wow.
And when he found out Seeley had named his property after himself, J.C. League, when they left Houston, he and his family moved down with his parents, so he was young, moved to Galveston, and he bought this piece of property up here.
How big?
And
Like 10,000 acres or something?
I don't think it was quite that big at that time. He bought the original piece that's in the park where we do the special event during the holidays. But what I loved about it was that he left the country to go on a big trip to Europe. And while he was gone, it wasn't easy back in the 1800s to go to Europe, right? So he got word from his lawyer that the people of League City had changed it back to Clear Creek, Texas, which I think is such a cool name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he sent them an authorized letter, I guess, through the lawyer stating, I own the property. It has been named this legally, and by the time I get back, it is League City,
It better
Texas.
be League City.
So I just like that story.
Wow, I never
That's
knew that.
funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, and his dad was a big member, a founding member of the Houston Chamber of Commerce, and that's where I was working when I met Pat. So I knew a little bit about all that, and then he moved his family down to Galveston. But, I just thought of it. I don't know what happened to them or where they went during the Great Storm.
What, who, the Seeleys? Or?
No, the
Leagues?
The League families. I need to find that out.
My niece was in from Los Angeles a few weeks ago and rented the old Seeley Mansion, which you came and visited.
I did. I had to go in and see what it looked like. The one that's across from Garden Vereen.
Right.
It's like 10,000 square feet, a 3-story mansion.
Oh,
It's
I'd love to go in
so
there.
awesome. Yeah, she rents it every time. It's for sale, actually.
Oh.
And
Would
she
you like
wanted
to buy it?
Well, thanks.
$750. It's not bad. Yeah.
I
would
mean,
if I won the
truly,
lottery.
it's not, but
I mean, if I bought it, I'd turn it into a frat house.
There you go.
Exactly.
Just
New
like
movie.
all of my
All
all
your
my
friends.
just move in.
There's a new movie for you. What happened to the guys in the frat house?
Old school.
Oh
You
my
know?
God.
yeah, exactly. So the geriatric road
Yep.
trip thing
That's
you
it.
have,
Yep, there
they
you
can
go.
end up in Galveston.
The last man
So-
house.
So another name dropping, this niece is married to the man that wrote Insidious and Saw, is it?
Yeah, Lee Wanell. Yeah, it's my niece's husband who.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he wrote
Yeah.
all the Saw movies and.
So
He's a writer director.
I was over there talking to his mom and his sister, and they're like, so could we just like brag on my niece, my daughter, whatever? So have you ever seen Saw or Insidious? And I was like, nope. I don't watch those kinds of
I
movies.
don't watch them
I don't
either.
watch it. And so day before yesterday, my roommate was telling me about the scariest movie she had ever seen that still stays with her, and it was Insidious.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And I was like, so nope, I'll never be seeing that.
Makes two
But-
of us, Angie.
Yeah, I was like, so.
They're
but
on. Yeah, Insidious 5, I think now. It's
But apparently
unbelievable.
he's like the best dad, super, super sweet husband, but he's got some
terrific.
things in his brain.
They have 3 kids and. He's totally devoted to his wife. It's really funny. He's such a sweetheart. But it's so funny. I
Part
was
that he plays.
I was in and he's an actor as well. Because he's in the Insidious movies. He's the 2 Ghostbuster guys with
Yeah.
the black.
Don't
he's
look at
the
me.
good-looking young, smaller one. There's him and his buddy, the big oafish-looking
Right.
guy. Yeah. So he's the young, good-looking one, the younger, good-looking one. But it was funny because I went to visit him on the set in L.A. like a couple of years ago, and as I was walking on the set, I see him and these three gorgeous women standing around him, and he was doing something like that, and I was like, oh, he's flirting with these girls. I came up behind him, I'm like, you. And then I look, and he's showing a picture of his wife.
Score! Very
like,
good.
That was awesome. I'm like, all right, good boy.
Don't want to get caught. So once again, this is KHEA Radio 99.5. It is 3:44 in the afternoon. We're sitting here talking to Janice Hallisey from League City Proud, and standing in the microphone over here for Kelly Williams is Bo Brinkman, and you're listening to Riding the Wave with Angie and Kelly. Just missing Kelly today.
Yes, we are.
So anyway, okay. So what is your question?
Oh, well, that the soiree that you do every year, I always thought it was done by the city, League City, and I just found out that it's done by the citizens and not the city at all.
Correct.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, the city comes in as a sponsor, like
Right.
other people do, because
Sure.
they do provide the police officers for us.
Yeah,
for all
but
the security, but
it's not put on by the city; it's put on by you guys.
Right.
That's wonderful.
It's put on by about 10 people.
Wow,
And
that's a
people are
lot of
always
work.
Shocked. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And, with the slogan, "We are League City Proud," naturally they think
Sure.
that that's either the city or the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
So it's neither one. But it really came out of a way to an idea that I had to bring everybody together back to J.C. League's property, back to the old part of town, because League City's growing by leaps and bounds.
It really is, yeah.
And the first year we put on Holiday in the Park, there were 37,000 people in the town. Today, there's over 110,000.
And
So-
about 37
what-
people come to the event.
What is this like? How many years? I know it's been going on for a long time, but I mean,
I'm proud to say 22.
22 years. Okay.
22 years.
Wow.
yes. So it's just grown and grown. The first year we had about 31 entries into the parade. Last year we had about 130.
Gosh.
And so
That's
it's
wonderful.
quite a lengthy parade.
Whoa! I bet you. Is it the same 10 people or
It's the same 10 people.
same 10 people? But y'all
Pretty
have
much.
like each of you have 10 volunteers,
Now,
or
the actual event itself, we get more volunteers.
Sure, yeah,
But
yeah.
the board of directors,
Right.
is
The
about
people who
10
put
of
the
us.
core things together.
Yeah.
I mean, I start in May. I'll be driving around going, I'm just going to call and remind the church we need their parking lot.
Sure.
Then I call the funeral home and remind them we need their parking lot, and the hardware store, and it just kind of goes from there. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of details that go into it every year
Sure.
to make sure that the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. And last week I called up the insurance lady and I went, well, we need to get our insurance going because we cover our board and then we cover the event to make sure that we have anything, if anything were to happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in this day and age, you have to almost be ready for anything, and that's just scary and terrible.
When we do a premiere for a film, we have to have $1 million
Right.
For that
Event
one
insurance, right?
Yeah, of insurance just for those couple of hours.
Right. Well, I know now what it costs to go into a hospital under urgent care.
Sure.
Or acute care. So those bills can run up fast if something happens.
Wow.
They do.
And you never know.
Well, so the organization is called League City Proud.
The
So-
League City Proud organization. Yes.
So, and I'm on the board of directors, so I'm just acting like I don't know there, but I know that. But so you had a 10-year-old daughter.
Yes.
That you were kind of like, there's really no parades, there's no Christmas stuff. Let's start something.
Well,
So
for years, the Parks Department would have a Santa come into the gazebo, and it cost $3 to have a Polaroid taken. And I worked for Budweiser in special events my whole career, and I'd go home to my husband and go, "Is that all the city has?" And so, I said that one too many times. He goes, "Well, do it yourself." And so I did, and called up. Well, it was actually my husband, Tommy Cones, and myself who got it off the ground, and a couple of other people assisted us that year, which was one of League City oldest residents, Angelo Raffo. So even 30 years ago, he was an older man. So it doesn't take quantity of people. It just takes quality of people.
Sure, of course,
And
always.
to be involved, I'd just ask them to have a Christmas heart. People are going to complain. People are never going to be happy. One lady
Parade's too long.
Parade's too long. I hear that all the time, and I go, well, you can leave. There's streets on both sides. Just leave.
But when they want their kid to be in it, when they're a cheerleader or on the little football team or the Cub Scouts, and they all want them to be in it. But then when they're on the drill team in high school, they don't want to sit through all the little Boy Scouts and all the little Cub Scouts. And you're like, remember when your kid was little and you wanted to be,
Sure.
we want everybody to be a part of it. So
somebody will call me up on parade day and they'll go, is it too late to be in the parade? Nope. Just meet us and I'll give them a different parking lot to go to because they'll have to be further towards the back.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to entertain. Everybody wants their moment in time. So have we not? You're the MC, Angie.
What?
So, yeah.
Me?
You're the MC?
Yeah,
I've been
she's
emceeing.
fabulous.
This will be my
Wow.
17th year to MC.
Yes.
Isn't that exciting?
Wow.
And I might mention right now that we've invited TJ Alds from I-45
yes.
Now to be my co-host for the night. So
Yes.
that'll be fun. So
Wow.
he's a lot of fun, and so that'll add a little bit of excitement
And he's
to the
so
night.
knowledgeable, too, about the
He did.
community and about community leaders and where you might not know somebody, which is doubtful. He may.
Right.
But he brings a lot of enthusiasm and joy to it.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So I love TJ. I guess about 9 years ago, TJ gave me my first job as a writer on the connection papers for Galveston County Daily News. Did those connection papers, and he was the editor. So I love TJ. I love what he brings to the table. So that'll be a lot of fun. So what about the events? What's going to go on this year?
I don't want to run out of time. So everybody, please
keep
mark
going.
your calendar. It is always the first weekend in December. Last year, December 1st fell on a Saturday. So when it comes on Sunday this year, it's bumped to the next weekend. So our weekend will be December 6th, 7th, and 8th. The Grand Night Parade will be Saturday night. But Friday night has grown, as you know, Angie, into this big, wonderful family event. We rent one of those enormous screens, and we play Christmas music, Christmas movies, either Rudolph, Santa, Frosty, whomever. And this year with our overall theme being hats off to Frosty. He's celebrating his 50th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And if
Is
you're-
it the Frosty cartoon?
Yes. Yeah.
The cartoon
yes.
movie.
Right.
Yes.
So it's the 50th
Wow.
So
anniversary.
the movie will be on Friday night. We'll have costume characters coming into the park. And if you remember when you first start the cartoon, he comes dancing and the kids are out there and what does he say? Happy birthday! Because he's at a kid's party. But this year it's his 50th birthday. Wow. So we're having a holiday salute to Frosty, but it is also going to be his 50th birthday
Wait,
party.
doesn't Burl Ives do the voice for
Burl doesn't do it, I don't think, for Frosty. I think he does it for Rudolph.
Rudolph?
And I don't think it.
He
I
does
don't
No,
think
something.
it's not. It's not
It's
Frosty.
Jimmy Durante
Ah.
that does Frosty.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
Jimmy
so
Have
Durante.
you heard of that voice? I haven't
Yes.
heard that name in so long.
I know,
Yeah,
and
so
a lot
funny.
of millennials don't even know who
Yeah,
that
Jimmy who?
Burl Ives or Jimmy
Oh,
Durante
they
is.
don't. No, it's very sad.
Oh well,
Very
yeah.
sad.
They don't know. No, I mean, they don't know who actors were that
No.
are in their 50s now.
Most of them don't know who Charlton Heston was either. I hate to tell you.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Let me just tell you real quick. When at the premiere in 1993, I took my niece. Right, she was at the time she was maybe 20. Okay,
And she knew him.
we're standing in a circle with Chuck Heston and Jane Fonda standing there,
Wow.
and me and Corbett, and because she came up to say something to Chuck, and we're all talking, and they walk away, and Corbett says, "Baba,
Who's that?
who's that old man? He looked familiar."
Okay, well that
And who
has-
was that lady? Because she looked familiar too.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Well, I was at a bar in Houston, back in the day, and this man walked in. He went to sit in the restaurant, and I went later into the restaurant to go into the ladies' room, and I walked into the ladies' room. I went, I know that man out there. Y'all, please tell me, who is that man out there? And they went, You mean Cesar Romero? I knew that man.
See, every generation forgets another actor.
I mean, I knew him immediately. It was just
Yeah.
and handsome as he was.
Well, I'll tell you.
Anyway, so
we
going
have
back,
Frosty starring in our
so the tribute will be, you can decorate your floats, you can do whatever. We want to encourage everyone to wear a Frosty hat out to the parade.
So we're asking the party goers this time, the parade goers, to participate and either wear scarves or hats, something that is Frosty oriented.
Right.
Well, that's like a black top hat, or is it a red hat? I forgot.
It's a black top hat.
Black top hat. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I think he had a flower on it.
Red scarf and
a red scarf.
All that. Our luck is this year it'll be 90 degrees.
That's right.
For the event.
We'll ask them to wear scarves.
We've had 30 and sleet, and we've had it be 82 and humid. So
usually, if I have a costume that is very warm, it's going to be hot.
Right. So make sure your costume's very warm, please. But it is such a hometown feeling. My husband's the mayor, but I still don't ever want the city to take this event over because we have so much passion for it. We put little bitty things in there that if the city does it, they'll cut.
Sure. Yeah.
And
the bureaucrats.
Yeah. So we're so fortunate. I spoke this morning, Angie. I'd like you to go with me to the Shriners down in Galveston. These men are in their 80s. And they come every year, and they bring their mini little Model T cars, their little mini motorcycles.
Oh, wow.
They bring all of their gear. And so next week, I'm going down to their dinner to thank them.
Oh, yeah.
And then hopefully,
they're always so much fun in their little bitty cars.
And they're just such first-class gentlemen, and they do so much. Of course, they're Shriners.
Yeah.
They do so much for the community. And he was telling me today that they're bringing back the Shriners Traveling Circus.
What?
Well, I'm all about that. I went, woo, I'm coming to talk to y'all. Because when I first came to League City in '84, they had the Shriners Circus out at Walter Hall Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah. And there was also the one out of California, the Traveling Circus Vargas.
Right.
And I was friends with them. And I can't find them, so I'm assuming that they shut down. But we just provide so much. A couple years ago, and we're contemplating it this year, we gave away a free wedding in the parade for a military guy.
Oh, wow.
And
that's
it was
awesome.
a young Navy guy, his little round white hat, and he was tall and slender and cute. And then his fiance was like a size 1, red hair, gorgeous, fabulous. So we had this wonderful parade. Wedding in the parade. But we have one of the founding families of League City is the Butlers, and they planted all the oak trees in League City on Main Street back in the 1800s. Pat and I were fortunate to meet Ray Butler, who right before he died when I met him was 96. So he told us the story of how the oak trees. So the parade is coming under the old oak trees. We have the 1910 St. Mary's Catholic Church.
Yes,
ringing the
I
church
love that
bells.
church. Love that church.
We've had the Clydesdales lead the parade 3 times, so I'm working on the Clydesdales again.
Yeah, I don't remember the Clydesdales.
You weren't? You don't?
The Budweiser Clydesdales?
Well, yeah, I know of them.
I know you were there once when
must
they
have
were
been there at least once, but
they're so spectacular. And the guy that drove them back in those days, I said, "Where's the music?" You know what I'm talking about, the music, right? Bum, 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 ba-da-da. He said, "I'm so sick of that music." He's sitting up there with the horses. And I went, "I have worked for Anheuser-Busch for 20 years. You will play that music." And so he gets down the street about 2 blocks. I hear him turn the music off. Man, I took out after him. So anyway, I do hope that we get them back because they're magical in themselves.
Oh, yeah.
When we put the trees up on top and the dogs are sitting there, it's fabulous. But we have the choirs and we have all the school bands, but we are particular. We are League City proud, so we can't invite the world to participate. And I don't spend money advertising to Houston to come down to our event because we don't have the security and the fencing and all that. It is for League City people.
Right.
And
we have 3 high schools right here in League City. So
we use Clear Creek, Clear Falls, Clear Springs. Is it just 3? And then Bay Area Baptist brings one. And not every time, but
what's
some.
the one out on the off the freeway.
We have Clearbrook and
The
Clear
new one.
Lake High School as well, but,
Yeah, but
they
we
don't come because they're not in League City.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And besides, we
So-
only have so many driveways and so much room at the end of the street before we hit a major thoroughfare
Sure.
that the state says no. I'm lucky to get the state road closed as it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just a wonderful, big, small town, charming feeling. When you hear church bells and you see people laughing, and the kids running the street, and the lights come on in the park, it just brings tears to your eyes. I don't think we'll ever get tired of it.
It is. It's so beautiful looking down at the oak trees, hang over. And it ends right there where the gazebo is in League Park. And it's just really a beautiful, and that's where the movie is as well, in League Park. So everything brings you back to history, and it's really beautiful. So now how do people get into the parade?
Yes, they can go to leaguecityproud.com and print off a parade form and mail it in to us. But they need to read that form very carefully and initial every place that we ask them to initiate,
Right.
because
And there's always a meeting on Monday night
before the parade.
Right. That will be at the League City Civic Center. And we tell all about insurance and, having to have fire extinguishers and the things that they need to have with them. The police talk, the firemen talk, I talk.
Yeah.
So vendors.
Vendors, same thing, leaguecityproud.com. Click on vendors and get a form. Please read it all. It's a 3-day event. We provide security overnight. We don't expect everybody to pack up. We don't want you to pack up at night. And to date, let me find some wood to knock on. To date, we've never had a vendor problem with somebody coming in overnight because we have policemen walking the grounds all night. So we're very lucky. And somebody, if they decorate their booth and they're chosen as the prettiest booth for the year, then they get their money back on renting their booth. So that's a lot of fun.
So
as
make
well.
it pretty.
Wow.
Last year we had over 120 vendors.
So
Wow.
there's
That's a
food
big show.
vendors, so
Yep,
you can
food
buy
trucks,
stuff.
food, shopping, entertainment from the kids up on the plaza.
We also have 3 parades.
Yes.
So
We
not
do.
just the Grand Night Parade that we've been talking about,
Right.
but what else?
We have the children's parade on Saturday morning, and we want everyone to dress up very festive. 10 o'clock next door to Butler's Courtyard on 2nd. Come into the park, have your pictures taken with Santa, and it's a grand affair also. Then on Sunday at 12:30 on the plaza in League Park, we have the pet parade, dress them up. We have judges, and that is adorable.
Yeah.
And I mean, it can
Super
be anything. We've had finches, little finch birds that a lady put tuxedos on them. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But the cats are hilarious. The dogs are fabulous. So, yes, there is a lot going on always at Holiday in the Park, League City Proud, and invite your friends and your family to come back. One of the most rewarding things, I think, for you and I is now seeing our children who grew up as little kids, then dancing and
bringing their kids.
Right.
And now they're all bringing their kids.
That's
Yes,
really great.
it is. It's awesome. And so, when I die, it'll be the first time I ever get to lead the parade.
You could lead the parade. Well,
No.
then you can
I'm
just
back there
run back
directing
to
the
your
parade. People always say, "Did you see this? Did you see that?" I go,
You're like,
I just don't. I just see movement going by, Tommy and I yelling at each other. But I do want to mention the board of directors real quick. So the originals were Pat, of course, and Tommy Cones and myself, and Marianne Malfa and Angelo. And then now we have Mark and Luann Edelman, and we have Daniel Henn, who's a wonderful human being,
He's so
and
sweet.
Sean Green and Angie Mertens.
What? Who's that?
Yeah. Who am I forgetting? I don't think anybody.
Nobody?
No. Then we have wonderful volunteers. Sandra Kelly works the vendors, and Libby Johnson runs the Libby Hill runs the entertainment section of the kids. Scheduling
That's another
that all
person who
out.
knows everybody.
Yeah, she does. And so it's fabulous. It's fabulous. So please come out. It's always free to join in the fun at the park. Of course, there's a fee for the parade to enter, and there's a fee for the vendors, but that just helps us pay the bills.
Right. So, and we'll be talking about this event all the way until December, but we just wanted to kind of give everybody a heads up. I want to talk about one thing really quick, and we're already time to be done, but We just had the hurricane in the Bahamas,
Yes.
Devastating, sat over
Yes.
that country for
3 days.
24
3
or
days.
48
Yeah.
hours or
Yeah.
something.
with 1 mile an
Amazing.
hour at extended, hurricane force 5,
Category 5,
yeah.
and it sat there for almost 3 days.
Yes.
Yes, it's
It's-
so devastating. So
It's going to be right up there with Galveston. It's gonna
it
be
is.
right
It,
up there.
it is devastating to know what they need, and so I'm working with some people that are going to be having the trucking out to Florida, and then we have a shipping container that'll take them out there to the Bahamas, and so we need you to donate some things. We need diapers, adult diapers and children's diapers. We need kids clothing, shoes. We need baby food,
Be
baby
careful when you say
formula.
clothing.
Yeah, I
Remember
was going to say.
Harvey.
So, y'all, we went through this about, especially Janice's
2 years
daughter,
ago.
Ashley, had to go through thousands of pounds of clothing. Do not send your junk.
Right.
Don't send your junk because they just have to go through that and then throw it away. We can't send them junk.
Right.
This is an island, so we need shorts and tank tops and things like that, but a very minor amount of clothing. What we
Let's
mostly
focus on
need,
the kids.
yeah, and yeah, just worry about kids. We'll get the adult stuff.
Many people will.
But so mostly what we're trying to send is the adult and children's diapers, formula, baby food, pet food.
It's big.
We don't want water at this time. It's too hard to transport. They'll get that in Florida and
Too
send
heavy.
it. They will want it, but we're not going to be in charge of that. If you know you needed it after Harvey, then it'll be something that's
Cleaning
donated. Cleaning
supplies.
supplies, yeah, bleach, and sponges and things like that. Gloves. So if you could donate here at the Abundant Life Christian Center at 601 Delaney in Lamarck is a drop-off center. You can start dropping off after this Thursday. Just come around to the office and the secretary can help you where to bring that. You can also go to Dress Galaxy in League City at 451 Landing Boulevard. That's just off of 518. Again, starting on Thursday. Look at our Facebook page, Riding the Wave with Angie and Kelly. We'll have updates on what we need and the things that are coming to us and the supplies that we're going to keep needing. We'll have some other drop-off places, but if you could just start bringing your stuff. We're going to need flip-flops. Again, it's an
contacted them.
island. Yeah, okay, so Janice will talk to Soul to Soul.
Yes, so I contacted a group that I worked with after Ike, 2008 Ike. So Souls for Souls collects shoes. I'm collecting flip-flops.
Okay.
So they are in an island. Yes, if you have decent tennis shoes, they'll take them for sure. So tennis shoes in good condition. Flip-flops, everybody right now can go to the dollar store, the family dollar store. Everybody's getting rid of their flip-flops. If you have some in your closet, whatever. But last time I collected over 500 pair.
Right.
So
beautiful.
Souls for Soul will make sure that they get there if we collect them, depending on how we collect them.
Right. And they will take your used tennis shoes or whatever, but make
Yes.
sure that it's something you would wear to school still, you would wear to work still,
Which is
those
not
kinds
holy,
of things.
you know.
Yeah, that we want to be able to be sending things to
Yes.
people that they can still use. So thank you so much for your donations. Again, starting on Thursday, 601 Delaney here in Lamarck and 451 Landing Boulevard in League City. And this has been Riding the Wave with Angie and Kelly. We want to thank Bo Brinkman for taking Kelly's place today and sharing. Everybody go and rent The Last Man Club. It really is a beautiful.
I want to now.
It's really a beautiful and honors our country. It's really beautiful. I love that the men were all veterans, and it is have a story, an underlying story about the military in there. And then everybody come out for the League City Proud's holiday in the park. If you want to volunteer, let us know. There is a core group of volunteers, but we need lots of volunteers
We do.
during the event. And we also kind of want the next generation to start volunteering.
We have to find someone.
Yeah. So if you're, in your 20s and 30s and you're interested in this, volunteer for League City Proud
Yeah.
and come out and help us with the parade. So once again, this is 99.5 KHEA Radio, and you've been listening to Riding the Wave with Angie and Kelly. And we look forward to seeing you next week at 3 o'clock. Oops. Everybody just keep talking because I'm still not on the radio. No. All right. Thanks so much.